And we're live.
All right, welcome back, fellow TFFL owners, to another TFFL webcast. Wednesday, almost Thursday now this week, Wednesday, December 21st, with a doubly special edition of our TFFL webcast. First off, it's the holidays, of course. So happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas. For all you non-religious gift givers out there, whatever you're doing, enjoy it. Have a happy holiday week. Secondly, it is Packed Bowl Week, and it's media day here during Packed Bowl Week. We're thrilled to have with us owners of our two Packed Bowl combatants, Rich Berkman.
Hello.
The Lizards. And Berto, our three-time defending champion, Jack's Giant Killers.
Hey, Stick.
And our two regular panelists, our commissioner, skipper of the Sponge Fishermen, Chief.
Hey, Stick.
And Hank Czar, and CEO of the K-Wheels, and our IT director here.
Good day, everyone.
So we got a big game to talk about. There's a bunch of angles I want to make sure we explore here. But first, as always, TFFL trivia question for you. A Packed Bowl themed trivia question, and a three-parter at that. Let you rack up some points here in our season-long competition. Can we agree right now we might have one more webcast after the Packed Bowl? Mm-hmm. And we'll call that our final one as we tally up the points here.
Sure.
I'd be happy to join.
All right, good. Was that a confident statement?
Always, but no, it had nothing to do with that. I was just saying I'm happy to meet with you guys and talk football.
Good. All right, so three questions for you guys. We have played 19 previous Packed Bowls. This is now our 20th. How many of them were decided by 10 points or less? And I'll give you a point if you can be within one either way of the correct answer here.
So say that again. How many were within 10 points or less?
Yes.
Out of 19.
Out of 19.
All right, got it.
Second part. Out of those 19 previous Packed Bowls, how many times did the winning team, or any team for that matter, but it was always the winning team, eclipse 100 points? How many 100-point games have we seen in the Packed Bowl out of 19 games?
Well, I won't give anything away on that one, but I was on the losing end.
All right, and that brings me to part three, which may favor Berto a little bit here. But we talk about the Giant Killers and what is it, five Packed Bowls, Berto?
Mm-hmm.
Including 3 in a row.
Oh,
Before they were even more amazing is before they were the Giant Killers, when they were themselves, they had 2 more Packed Bowl appearances, no titles. I want you to name the franchise, the only franchise, to have defeated the Stem Cells / Giant Killers in the Packed Bowl.
All right.
Okay. Before we get into our roundtable chat, which is going to be all about the Packed Bowl, all about the Lizards and the Giant Killers, let's throw a little bit of a bone to all the other owners out there, including several of us on this panel. Chief, can you give us the updated draft order? 1 through 10 should now be set. Obviously, 11 and 12 still to be decided.
Right. Well, starting from the number 1 spot in the order, moving down. Okay, so we have the Amsterdam Packers. Number 2, the Senators. 3, the Beavers. Now 4 is the Sponge Fisherman pick, which is going to the Lizards. 5 is the Steel City Mongols pick, going to the Packers. 6 is Boba Fett's. 7, Dirt Devils. 8, Aliens. 9, Hormel Hams, which is going to the Mongols. 10, K-Wheels.
Who is the Hams pick going to?
The Mongols and the Tevin Coleman trade. The Mongols did good to get back into the first round after trading theirs last year for the Chris Johnson. I don't want to call it debacle, but other people have. And then 11 will be obviously the loser of this week's game, and and 12 being the winner. The winner's right.
All right, there we go. Okay, so let's talk Pack Bowl. I'll throw out a few topics of discussion, and then at the end we'll really break down the game itself. So, I mean, let's face it. This is the third straight Killers Lizards final, the fourth straight title game appearance for Berto and Jack's Giant Killers. Rich, my recollection is you used to be one of the it's all luck guys. But let's face it, you guys are doing something right, both of you. So without a bunch of coach speak, I want one thing from each of you. One thing you do, one philosophy, maybe even one roster move you want to point to, but give me one specific thing you can attribute to your success that maybe we all could learn from.
I'll go first.
Please.
I think it's staying aggressive. So making a play or making a trade when you have to make a trade. So I think the example this year was and we kind of illustrated this last webcast that I mucked some things up with my quarterback this year. Not having a quarterback going into the draft, trading for Derek Carr, and then not
Should
keeping him.
we go through it again? That was fun.
So multiple issues with that, but stayed aggressive and knew that I had an issue there, and went out and found a trading partner and did my due diligence to find somebody who I could get who was going to help me. So I think if I had to say something, I'd say stay aggressive and pay attention.
Yeah, I agree with Berto on that one in terms of aggressiveness. Just to highlight something different, I guess it's trying to establish a balance with your team is what I aim for. And what I mean by that is over the past 3 years, you're going to have injuries or issues like AP and ODB and other guys that get hurt, and just finding those, I try to strike the right balance with the team of what I need for keepers and what I need for depth and what I need for performance. And that's where I focus a lot of my energy, is on keeping that balance. And sometimes that may look like it's going to hinder something short term. But you try to balance that with where you think it's going to help you a little later. So I hope that makes sense to you guys.
No, nothing makes sense to me. I don't make sense of any of this game, and obviously don't understand it. And so yeah, thanks for the tips.
Yeah, I mean, the aggressiveness comes in is when you realize something that you planned for didn't work out, or something you were planning didn't work out. For me, part of that was my running backs this year, which is all self-evident. You guys have talked about it. And I wanted it to be that what happened to AP, right? And it's unfortunate that I don't have the ability to bring him back now. Not that I would anyway, because he had like an average of 1.8 carries when he was healthy in the beginning of the year. But the point is, I drafted Howard and Perkins as young, and then I went after some guys who I think would get some play and would be, getting some touches every week, like a Starks, for example. I would have liked to have gotten a few of the guys Fats got, and I'm actually glad I didn't, because they all got hurt. but I, those were things I was trying to pay attention to in the draft, because look, Perkins and Howard are keepers next year, right? And I don't know what happens with AP, but those guys are there. And now I have, again, like I did last year, extra flow with somebody's going to want Michael Thomas or T.Y. Hilton to go into next year. And I have 4, wide receivers, and even a Travis Benjamin who had his highlights this year, who are all, going to be of interest to other parties or people that I'm going to keep based on either trades that happen in the NFL or injuries that occur.
And Rich, we're jumping ahead, but you also have the number 4 overall pick. You didn't trade away your first round pick like a lot of title teams do. I'm surprised you're looking ahead as much as I might be, but yeah, you're gonna be well positioned next year.
Indeed.
One other thing too is I was surprised by how many teams had waiver picks at the end of the year. I mean, granted, right? I mean, you got to go out and get, but like,
use them.
We're a playoff team, or a couple other teams didn't use all their waiver picks and their IR picks, and that to me is it's such a waste. And one thing I try and do is find the guys at the end of the year who are going to be momentum plays. I always want to be playing my best towards the end of the season, and some people don't even they don't have any picks left. They either use them too early or they don't use them at all, and it always stuns me every year that people are in that position.
We talked about this, I think, a little bit before we went on air. Tight end Cameron Brate, for crying out loud. Would you say number 3 scoring tight end, a guy you're now consistently starting, who's consistently delivering a touchdown and a couple yardage points, making a difference for you.
Yes.
I think it was like week 7 or 8. I was I needed a tight end. I needed to fill in for a bye, and I was weighing between Gary Barnidge and Cameron Brate. And I didn't take Brate because he plays for Tampa, and I was hoping Doug Martin was going to start doing something. And so I left him there for Berto. So, again, you're welcome.
Such a great topic, just in terms of the whole using of your FA's IR. I have 1 IR left, nothing else. And if you look at my situation, I dropped Barnidge because I recognized after a couple of games he was expendable, especially because I knew I was going to start Olsen all the time, and there was someone else I wanted to grab at that time. And then later on, I ended up dropping Tim Hightower only to trade back for him, right, with Kramer. And gosh, without making that trade, I'm not in the Pac Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's great, Rich, because you corrected a mistake. It's very easy to say, I let this guy go for a reason. Why get him back? You recognize the need, and undid, and of course situations change. Marking went on the concussion protocol, which made him a hot property. And then we talked about it in the context of it was a very Senators move to sweep up a guy on top of the free agency draft and trade him immediately. So it was really a good move for both of you.
And 2 straight years now that Hightower has done this for you, Rich?
Did he do it for me last year?
He had a great finish to last year. I just don't recall whose team he was on.
I don't think I could be. A couple of brain cells might be gone, Stick.
Hey, real quick, while we're talking a lot about the Lizards, I wanted to bring up Tyrod Taylor over Cam Newton last week.
Yeah.
That was ballsy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cam had a questionable tag on him. And you don't want to be hung out Monday night. I mean, Monday with no quarterback at all. And they're really, I had confidence he was going to play, but I loved the fact that a good matchup. And I felt that they would be equal, or that Tyrod would have done a bit more than he did. But I was all right with his 10 points. Cam scored 17 for us, maybe something like that, which I expected Tyrod to exceed that, in all honesty. And I thought Cam overperformed a little bit from what I expected last week. Mm-hmm. But more importantly, it was about seeing that injury and really not knowing how they were going to treat it. And even if you saw in the beginning of the game, after his first drive, he was sort of wincing and then he turned out, he got loose and things went good, which gives me confidence for next week in starting him against Atlanta.
Hey, Stick, one final thought from me on this is, and Chief touched on it, when you fuck something up or screw something up, how do you course correct, or how do you learn from that? And Alan Hearns was a big lesson for me this year. Never again. If I have an opportunity to take some running backs there, fifth or sixth overall, I guess. So you need to learn from your mistakes and not repeat them. So, or if you made a questionable trade, what did I do wrong? It's going back and looking at what you actually did and not do some of those things again, or, kind of change your course where you did screw up. So
it's kind of like we're driving on the highway and it's going kind of slow, and you switch lanes, and all of a sudden you realize it's the other lane that's moving.
right.
All right. It's very easy to say, "Oh, I changed my mind. I'm here. I don't want to be an asshole and move back." But you know what? You made a mistake. So those 10 cars that you just spent a half hour passing by you now, you know what? Get back behind them, because then the 20 more are going to pass you too.
Yeah, by the way, that whole time you're keeping your eye on one car to see if you can correct your mistake and get ahead of it.
Exactly. And I find myself doing it all the time. As soon as I got past that asshole, I'm going to go right back over. But it gets further and further and further ahead of you, because you don't want to say, I fucked up.
Yeah.
That's right.
Rich, give the league a quick bonus piece of life advice here. What's the best way to approach the toll road, the tolls?
Best way to approach the tolls? Not to have Douglas in your hand?
Oh, come on. This is classic Berkman. You go far right.
No, always right.
Oh, yes.
Gotta go right.
I'm sorry. You are right, Stick. Yes, you always go far right. Massachusetts has removed all their tolls. So we don't have them anymore. So I forgot that one. But yes, you always go far right.
I always keep you in mind when I do that.
Rock and roll.
All right. Rich, I see an irony here this week. You're a big Buffalo Bills fan.
Sure.
The Bills lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. The Lizards have now lost only 2 Pac Bowls in a row, but a chance obviously to make it 3. Do you fear losing at this point as much as you want to win? I mean, do you worry about losing 3 in a row?
Nope, not in the least. It's a new year. It's a different game. It's a different team. I don't have any. I've gotten over the losses of the last 2 years. That I couldn't even remember if I had Tim Hightower or not last year. It's all about the present. It's all about right here, right now. And I can't lie to you and say, God, I'm the fucking Buffalo Bills of our TFFL. That has crossed my mind. Just in that comparison and the irony of it. I don't expect to be the Buffalo Bills of the TFFL. I expect to win this week.
But at the same time, I'm sure Buffalo Bills fans will take those, 4 Super Bowl appearances over 4, 3, and 13 years. I think you'd rather lose in the Pac Bowl than lose any other time during the season.
Yeah. I want to be in the last game of the season every year. And if I win or lose, I'm still happy. I love to play fantasy football. I love playing with you guys. And I love playing as long as I can.
Yeah, it sucks not to be playing anymore.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
it sucks. Losing sucks.
Yeah, I've been there. I get it. I know it sucks. I hate losing. Even in years we lost, I want to play in the Cash Bowl because I want to compete and I want to play.
My team's fucking Cash Bowl specialist. The last 3 years last 2 years, I have a win and a loss in the finals, then in the finals again this year. My guys can't win the regular season, but man, they are Cash Bowl assassins.
Isn't that the worst? The worst is when you almost make it into the playoffs and then your team gets hot and you friggin' own the Cash Bowl and you friggin' rule. You're like, oh, I would have beat those teams. It's painful, John. I feel for you.
We'll get to 2017 next week and beyond, but the Sponge have to be trending up, I think, in 2017. Andrew Luck, Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, LaShawn McCoy just had another almost career season. At some point he'll start to decline, but a lot of good young talent there. So let's go back to the topic of luck a little bit here. I want to talk about the Giant Killers. And listen, Berto, you're definitely doing something right. I've been the first to celebrate your achievements over the years as a fantasy GM. But we heard Chief rant recently about not winning any games with a winning score in the 40s or the 50s, while also losing games in which he's scoring in the 80s. Last week I reminded everybody that the Giant Killers have only topped 70 points twice this season. That didn't change in week 15. So they now have playoff victories with scores of 59 and 57 points. In the regular season, they won games with 49 and 48 points. They went 3-1 when scoring in the 60s this year. By comparison, the Aliens went 2-3 this year, scoring in the 60s. Berto, how much credit are you giving yourself as the savvy GM and coach for overcoming relatively low scores and still making the playoffs, winning playoff games, getting back to the Pac Bowl? And how have you pulled strings a little differently with this roster that obviously is not as talented as the rosters you've had in the past?
So I looked at some numbers. Over the last 6 games, the Killers and the Liz have both averaged 65 points. And we talked about some averages between the Wheels and the Killers last week. I think I've overcome some of the low scores. I haven't been in the 40s in a while. It's been upper 50s. It's been 60s. Week 13, 94. So like I said, the team's been going up. I think I made some good moves during the season. Between Ryan and picking up Brait and kind of managing who I'm starting. But, I like we already talked about last week, I made plenty of screw ups going into the season. I had injuries just like everyone else did this year between Eric Decker and Gronkowski now. And Foster was a terrible keeper. Again, that was another bad decision. So, I had my fair share of bad decisions, but I think picking up Ryan and doing a couple other things that I did were good moves. So not my finest work, I would say, from August to now. I think last year, getting that team to a Pac Bowl and winning it was probably the best I did. But this year certainly wasn't that. But here we are.
You're here.
Berto, I think you should give yourself more credit. I gotta eat crow. I said this earlier, and I mean it. I probably have been more harsh on Berto than anyone all year long. I have been rooting for this league to rise up and stop the tyranny of the Giant Killers. And I have had 3 shots to do it this year. I think I beat you at our first meeting this year, but then
you did.
That's meaningless in week 2 or whenever the hell it is, or week 1. And in the 2 that matter, I lose. Could have knocked you out of the playoffs entirely. Could have knocked you out again last week. And here you are. You're a freaking cockroach. You're back in the big game. And kudos to you. You get the credit. Whatever luck is and how it factors into things, it doesn't matter. Berto, well done.
Thank you.
And that's Berto definitely is well done. My point about luck only is, Hank, that you and me and probably a couple other teams along the way just needed to score. If Berto had just run into a team that scored 70 points in any of these weeks, it changes everything. And your team didn't step up on 2 occasions. My team didn't step up. We'll see if the Lizards can. I think you get to 70 points against the Giant Killers. His team may not get there. We'll see.
Yeah. And we talked about luck last Pac Bowl preview. Webcast, and there's no doubt luck is a part of this. But you play, it's like playing poker. You can win with not the best hands, and it's how you play them. So anyway,
exactly right. I mean, there's balance in all of the matchups that you're looking at, and I remember distinctly in the last Pac Bowl, I didn't feel good about my matchups, and two, I was extremely disappointed in the fact I lost Odell Beckham to that suspension after the Josh Norman incident, and already was playing without AP as well last year, and I still felt good to compete, that we would do well, but I wasn't feeling so great about what those matchups looked like and try to pull the best guys out. And I think I did. No matter what I did, I would have lost in terms of my bench. But part of it is looking at your matchups and playing what you got, what you have in your hand, and just trying to play your hand the best way possible. But the other side of it is complete luck. In terms of, that's the part of fantasy football, is those guys out on the field got to do what they do, and you can't control there's things that are completely out of your control, and that's where hope comes in, and your best guys are that you had the best potential to win.
Does anybody remember the plot to Back to the Future 2? If you don't, I don't blame you. It's a terrible movie.
I remember. It's when they went forward into the future, where you into the future.
And part 2, it went to the past. It went to like the Old West.
Oh, it's the Old West. Okay.
And Biff went and he gave his former self like an almanac of all the sporting events.
Right.
He made a fortune betting them.
Mm-hmm.
If they were making that movie right now, he would go back to that almanac, and it would just be kicking ass in fantasy football every year. Because let's face it, you can win as much money playing fantasy football, but it's a lot more fun than just picking football games. So I think if they were going to update those movies, I hope they don't, they'll do a fantasy football angle on that. That's the end of the tangent.
Rock and roll.
All right, let's do some game analysis here. The Chief has set up the matchup on the website. We asked Berto and Rich to set their lineups ahead of this webcast. They've done that. I hope you guys on the panel have had a chance to check things out. Rich has got Cam Newton back in the lineup. Tell me what you see out there, who you like. The site has the Lizards as an 11-point favorite at this point. Does everybody agree with that?
As the guy with no horse, I mean, I just say this. Look, the Killers are never an underdog. I'm not giving them any kind of underdog status in a Pac Bowl final. Ryan is, being that much lower than Newton when they're playing each other, I think is surprising a little bit. Richie's running backs look good, and his receivers are ridiculous. So, I mean, as we all know, who's going to step up and play? Where are the big scores going to come from? Newton hits Olsen twice. It's going to be a long day for Berta.
Yeah, and and point spreads go out the window. It's a Pac Bowl final. But still, if I'm going to bet this game, I'm betting against a team that's starting Pierre Garçon, Cameron Brate, and Mike Gillislee. I would have done the same last year. For I think 3 Jets in the lineup.
Jets were great.
So I mean, it's
yeah, I know. Every Jet that he had in that game came through last year,
and they scored about 13 points in overtime.
But all my
it was unbelievable. I mean that was unbelievable.
Right. There was a long pass.
Right there. It doesn't get luckier than that, right? I mean, right there.
The game went to overtime. They had a long pass from Fitzgerald to Decker, and then a touchdown to Fitzgerald or Fitzpatrick to Marshall.
Yeah.
13 overtime points, or 14 overtime points.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, like I said in the commissioner's report, Berto's obviously sees things better than the rest of us. If he predicts the Lizards win, and I don't want to come off as anybody but Berto, although I would like to see anybody else win. like to spread some holiday cheer around the league a little bit. At the same time, I'll be happy for Berto if he does manage 4 in a row. Is just an amazing feat. It's like the Montreal Canadiens in the late '70s. But I think the 11-point Lizards win is probably about right.
Yep.
Here's the thing. The Lizards are going to score a ton of points. I think looking at their matchups, looking at the players they got out there, I think they hit that 70-point mark. I think they may hit 80, 90 beyond. Lizards are going to score enough points that they're going to win this game easily, I think.
I hope you're right.
I would love to sit there, and if you look at this, you could say, yeah, I could see the Lizards laying it down and winning this by 25 or 30. I could see that. Man, it's Berto in the Pack Bowl.
Exactly.
Mike is going to have a huge game. Pierre Garçon is going to show something. Man, Richie, I hope so, man. I hope so. I'm with you.
You look at it. I mean, Cameron Braid has outperformed Mike Evans a little bit, and he's taken away some of those goal line looks because he's performed. So that can have a direct impact on the score right there. I hope that if Braid scores, at least Evan gets one to neutralize it. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Phil. He out of nowhere, Garçon will have the best day of his life for Berto this week, right? And that's what I got to deal with.
I feel like that's what happens. He's going to have like $180 and 2 touchdowns out of nowhere.
Right. That's where that has nothing to do with anything except the right place, right time, and a little love and a little luck, right? I'm hoping I get all that love and all that luck this weekend.
Hey, do you guys know the very last player this game is going to come down to?
Justin Tucker.
Tyreek Hill.
Kicker. Kansas City Chiefs.
Chiefs defense.
I was just
Kansas City defense.
I was just going to make that point that this.
That's if I don't decide to put in Prater instead of Tucker, but I think I'm keeping Tucker in.
You got to.
This will start early on Thursday with Odell Beckham, and it'll go all the way through the weekend, as I think Stick mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago, even maybe. The other thing, in the last 2 weeks, had these two teams gone head-to-head to be 1-1 right now. Giant Killers would have had a 1-point win 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
I don't know how the 3-point home field advantage figures into that.
There's
And Lizards would have won handily last week.
So just some stats. I said the last 6 games were both averaging 65. Within those 6 weeks, the Lizards had a 115. The Killers had a 94. So if you take those high scores out and our low scores, the Killers are averaging 61. The Lizards 58. Okay. Week 9. The Lizards beat the Killers by 12, 64-52. But in week 4, when Matt Ryan played Carolina, he had 500 yards and 4 TDs. Right now, Matt Ryan is 3 points lower than Cam Newton. Julio Jones playing for the Falcons is huge if that happens. Hopefully,
sit down. Sit down, Julio. No more playing this year.
Hopefully your wheel can help me.
Save them for the playoffs. Save them for the playoffs.
But Berkman, this is the kind of thing. Julio's going to go have this monster game with Ryan, and
the Panthers' defense is much better now than they were back then.
At least he doesn't have Julio. At least he doesn't have Julio on his team.
But to be honest with you, I looked at and when I made that Pack Bowl prediction. Lizards over the Killers. I mean, I was looking at the Lizards wide receivers, and you could arguably say that they have 3 of the top 5 rated, or 4 of the top 8 rated wide receivers going into this week. And if 2 of them go nuts, I can handle one of them going crazy. If 2 of them go crazy, I'm in trouble. So yeah, it's gonna be tough.
All right. Well, good luck to both of you guys. We'll be back here next week talking about how this game played out, congratulating our winner. Let me give you some TFFL trivia answers as we start to wrap up here. Get your answer sheets out. We have a 3-parter. I'll try to run through these real quick. We are looking for the number of times out of 19 packed bowls that the game was decided by 10 points or less. We've got, I see 6, I see 4, I see 9 are out there, and 13. The correct answer is exactly 9.
Damn it.
Chief, the only one to get a point there.
9, a lot of close games.
About half of them, yep. Second question, how many times have we seen a 100-point performance in 19 packed bowls?
Devils twice against the stem cells.
So I'm seeing a 4. I'm seeing a 2 out there for some.
Packers had 1.
1. I just got 1.
Devils had 2, Impact
got-
had 1, and Lizards had 1.
I got 3.
The correct answer is 4, I believe. The Lizards do not have 1. The Beavers have 1.
Beavers.
Ampac have 1, and the Devils have 2. So the correct answer there was 4.
I got that.
Missed that.
Final question. Name the only team to have beaten the Stem Cells / Jack's Giant Killers franchise in the Pack Bowl. I see the Devils. Good. All right, Devils across the board. That is correct. And as Berto has hinted at, the Devils both times, back-to-back years, beat the Stem Cells with, I think, matching 104-point games.
Yep.
Well done, Dirt Devils.
Berto, how many points?
2.
Chief?
2.
Workman?
1.
I had 1. So hang on a second. You're up to the minute standings. Chief is in the lead with 21 points. Berto is second with 16 points. Hank is third with 14 points. And the guest slot now has 11 points. There we are.
All right, one more week, and maybe I'll come up with some 10-point questions next week.
We're going to need some serious questioning. Yeah.
No, don't try too hard.
We're going to have an off-season show.
I haven't won much this year.
Right? Is that true?
What's that?
Aren't we going to have a total trivia show one week in like April?
Don't take this away from me. It's all I've got this year. This and the cash bowl.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did talk about doing TFFL Jeopardy or something with Michael Giovenco. We'll see if we can work that up. All right, Commissioner. Last week, I suppose, of the 2016 season. We'll be talking about the 2017 season next week. So, what final reminders and rants might you have?
Get your reserve lineups in, and as soon as this is over, we're going strong into next year's draft preparation. I hope, Richard. But I don't know if this rises to the level.
Is that
of a
funny
rant.
part? Berto and I are maybe that has something to do with the last 3 years. Berto and I have been, planning Myrtle Beach together, and maybe that has something to do with it.
Could be. And I can see why Berto doesn't want to leave. But something.
Good luck, charm.
I would call this an observation more than a rant. I was driving home from work today, and I don't notice these things very much, but I pulled behind the car at a stoplight and had an all-black license plate. I'm like, that's kind of strange. And it was a Virginia antique vehicle license plate. Okay. I believe the definition of antique, the according to Hoyle definition, is anything 25 years old or more. I mean, we're antiques, I think, per dictionary. But this car that was adorned with this license plate was what looked to be a 1981 Toyota Corolla.
Stick had one of those, I think.
82.
82?
And I based this based on my best friend drove a 1983 Corolla during high school. And it was definitely prior to that model.
Wow.
Prior to that groundbreaking redesign they had in 83. So this plate costs $50 more than your usual Virginia license plate. You have to pay and submit this paperwork, get your antique license plate. And I'm thinking, why the fuck would you call more attention to your 1981 Toyota Corolla? You know, you're not driving a Model T. This isn't like a Stutz Bearcat. It's not even like a 65 Mustang. This is a Corolla. And all you're saying is, I am too cheap to buy a new car in the last 40 years. You know? And I'm going to pay for the privilege to make that announcement to the world. I'm going to drive a shitty car to 10 presidential administrations and make you goddamn aware that I'm doing this. So it's not a football-related rant. It's just, oh my God, people are dumb.
Some people have mental issues, man.
You know?
A good rant.
That was a good rant.
That was a very good rant.
Now, is $50 a lot of money? No. But, you know, I see it as like, you know, 8 drafts at my local tavern.
I was gonna say, in Chief's mind, that's beers.
That's you know, it's useful money that you don't have to be spending.
That's right.
Chief, I might pay to subscribe to a live webcam of you driving.
You know, that is an idea worth exploring. I give the guy credit; it was in good shape. You know, either he babies the thing or he does the genuine replacement parts on it, because it was in really good shape. No rust, no dents that I could see. But it's still a Corolla, driven by like a 280-pound guy. So yeah. Anyway, good luck in the Pac Bowl, both of you. I'm glad you could both join us tonight. I'll be rooting for both of you, but more specifically, I'll be rooting for the Lizards.
Thank you very much.
And you know, hopefully it'll be. You know, I don't know. I don't know if it's worse to lose like a 1-point game or just to like lose by 40. I imagine it's probably better to lose by 40. That you don't have to stay tuned for the very last, you know, Kansas City Chiefs defensive possession to find out if you win or lose. But
either way, I don't think it matters, Chief. You know,
you're playing a relevant game. You know, the weekend of Christmas and the weekend of Hanukkah. So that's a good gift in itself.
As the guy
Agreed.
who lost a really close one, I'm telling you, it hurts more. I think
The greatest game ever played.
it hurts a
yeah.
lot.
Ask the Hams how it felt when I beat them in the Pac Bowl by the hair of my chinny chin chin.
Yeah,
Well, look.
you're
What's
right
that?
there. I mean, you can see it.
Oh, Harry, just by a hair.
Yeah,
Just
they all are, but I could sympathize with Phil what he's saying with the close one. You know, that's just like, where could I have gotten another yard, or where couldn't I have gotten that catch, or that penalty that got called back, and your mind goes through all the things where if you get blown out, it's like, nah, there's nothing I could have done.
I went into the Monday night game in the semifinals down by 1 and watched Green Ellis get hurt in his 3rd carry.
Yep.
You know, out for the game. So yeah,
I'll never forget.
And I can't even imagine how much worse it would have been.
Literally, to this day, I will never forget Rod Smith recovering the zone and winning that Pac Bowl. Gosh, that was awesome. And that was 1998.
Who's gonna be this year's Nick Goings or Bobby Rainey or Fred Jackson or
Kaufman,
Ryan Fitzpatrick?
All of those candidates, unfortunately, are on Berto's team. It's Gillisley. It's all those.
Pierre Garcon, Mike Gillisley, Terrence West. Who's it gonna be?
I'm going to say Justin Tucker wins this game for the Lizards.
No.
Justin Tucker puts up like a 17-point score.
A bunch of 50-yarders in.
They keep moving the ball to scoring position, but can't punch it in against the Steelers and force kick field goals all day.
He has
see
been
that
a
happening.
stud for the Lizards.
Yeah.
KCD coming down to the KCD.
Hey, setting aside the Giant Killers, we know what they've done. Looking at the rest of the people on the panel here tonight, Aliens have never won a modern era title. Sponge Fishermen have never won a modern era title. K-Wheels go all the way back to 1997, 20 years now. Our first modern era Pac Bowl, and nothing since. Lizards, correct me if I'm wrong, Rich, go all the way back to 1998, our second season. So we're due, the 4 of us here. Berto, it would be incredibly impressive if you do 4 in a row. It's incredibly impressive. You've won 3 in a row. That you're here a 4th time. Frankly, as we've talked about, it's kind of impressive you've gotten this far with this team. A testament to some of your very savvy moves. So I don't think anybody's necessarily rooting against you, but I think some people may be rooting for a bit of an underdog in a sense in the Lizards, a team that hasn't won it in 18, 19 years now. But either way, I think this is going to be a great game. Looking forward to watching it. It'll make for a great holiday weekend. So good luck to both of you guys. Happy holidays to everybody out there. Enjoy this double holiday for us all. We'll be back here next Wednesday talking about the Pac Bowl and really starting to talk about the 2017 season. We're all 0-0 as of next Wednesday. Fresh slates, NFL draft starting to come into focus. Those of us who've been bitter about recent losses, we can be excited about a new season. But first, the Pac Bowl. Good luck, guys. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.
Thanks, Dick. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Good luck, gentlemen. I'm still bitter, but I wish you both luck. Happy football.
Thank you. Happy holidays to everyone.
We'll be chatting, I'm sure.